Hi, welcome once again to our YouTube channel. Thanks for subscribing to our channel. We really appreciate you. In this particular video, we quickly want to look at the Neco 2025 biology practical specimen, the specimen that Neco has chosen to use for this year's examination, this year's majoring examination. So I will quickly list out the specimen before we quickly go into explaining or talking about each of the specimens, talking about special characteristics of these specimens, possible uses, properties, everything that we need to know about the specimen to aid our knowledge as we go into the examination. So listing the specimens now, we have on our specimen A. Specimen A, we have housefly. We have housefly, our specimen A. Our specimen B, we have the spider. Our specimen C, what we have there is pride of Barbados. And our specimen D, we have bean seed. For our specimen E, what we have there is butterfly. And for our specimen F, we have the crayfish. For our specimen G, we have grasshopper. And our specimen H, we have humerus of rabbit. Humerus of a rabbit. That is what we have our specimen G, our specimen H, and then our specimen I, we have femur bone of a rabbit as well. Femur of a rabbit, and our specimen J, we have there to be orange fruit. Orange fruit. For our specimen K, we have the honeybee. Honeybee. And our specimen L, what we have there is land snail. Land snail. Our specimen M, specimen M happens to be guava fruit. Guava fruit. Our specimen N is Irish potato tuber. Irish potato tuber. And lastly, our specimen O, we have it to be the sweet potato tuber. The sweet potato tuber. So here are the list of specimens that we'll be using for this year's examination, this year's June-July examination. Specimen A is the housefly, specimen B is spider, specimen C is pride of Barbados, specimen D is bean seed, specimen E is butterfly, specimen F is crayfish, specimen G is grasshopper, specimen H is humerus of a rabbit, specimen I is the femur of a rabbit, specimen J is the orange fruit, specimen K is the honeybee, specimen L we have the land snail, specimen M we have guava fruit, specimen N we have Irish potato tuber, and specimen O we have it to be the sweet potato tuber. So these are the list of specimens that we'll be looking at. So without wasting our time, let us quickly go straight into talking about the specimens one after the other. So we'll be starting with our specimen A. Specimen A, which is the housefly. Specimen A, that is the housefly. So what are the things that we'll be looking at as we discuss this particular specimen, the housefly? So first and foremost, I will talk about their characteristics. I will talk about their classification. Since it is an organism, it will definitely belong to a particular class. So this is its own taxonomical classification, starting from the kingdom. Kingdom, we have it to be Animalia. The phylum there, it is an arthropoda. Then we have a class which is Insecta. We have the order now to be Diptera. Diptera. We have the family of this particular organism to be Mysidae. The Mysidae. And then we have the genus to be Musca. Musca, and the species for this particular organism we have it to be Domestica. Domestica. So since we have that to be the classification of this organism, its scientific name will be written as thus. We have it to be called Musca domestica. Now look at how I have written the scientific name. You can see that I wrote the Musca starting the M with capital letter, and then when I was to write the domestica, I started with lowercase. Started with lowercase for the domestica. That is how to write the scientific name, and then you put an underline under it without joining the underline. You can see that there is space in between there in the underline. So that is how to write scientific name. So that is about this particular organism. So Musca domestica is a fly. We have said that before. It is an house fly. So it includes so many. In this particular genus, we have so many types of housefly. We have the domestica, which is the normal housefly. We have the one that is called the fish fly. Okay, let me just give us a few of this. We have the housefly, like we have just said, this is the Musca domestica. We have the fish fly also, which is not the one that we're actually talking about. Housefly originated in the Middle East. Looking at its origin now. Origin from Middle East or Asia, Asian country. That is where we have this particular fly coming out from. Now, it is known to spread over a whole expanse of land of the world. Housefly have spread over so many parts of the world. Adult housefly are grey to black in color. Adult housefly have characteristic colors of what? Grey to black. Grey to black color. That is how we see this particular organism, and it has 4 dark longitudinal lines on its thorax, with 4 dark longitudinal lines on its thorax. When you look at this particular organism, on the thorax of it, you have a dark longitudinal line there that is found on the thorax. Now, this organism is slightly hairy. Slightly hairy bodies. They have slightly hairy bodies and a single pair of membranous wings. They possess slightly hairy bodies. Slightly hairy bodies. With a pair of membranous wings. With a pair of wings. Yes, it is with these wings that they actually fly about. The average life expectancy or lifespan of housefly is about 15 to 30 days. Average lifespan, we have it to be between 15 to 30 days. So they complete their life cycle in this particular time. And this particular organism is it has a complete metamorphosis. Houseflies are naturally polygynous, meaning that the males can mate with multiple females while the females choose only one partner. Houseflies are polygynous in nature. That is, males have multiple partners, while the females have a single partner. So that is what that statement there is talking about. Now, their gestation is approximately 24 hours. That is the time it takes for them to actually lay their eggs, to produce their eggs. Gestation period is 24 hours. So that is how long it takes them to actually produce their eggs. The females lay the eggs in 5 to 6 batches with about, okay, let me put that here also. Females lay eggs in 5 to 6 batches, with each of them laying about, let's say, 75 to 150 eggs per time. Having 75 to 150, approximately 75 to 150 eggs per batch. So that is how productive these particular organisms are, and it takes just about 8 to 24 hours. Like I said earlier on, the gestation period is about 24 hours for them to hatch and to produce maggots that eventually feed on feces. Now, developed larvae pupate into dry locations for 4 days, and then the adult fly emerges afterwards. So like I said earlier on, it has complete metamorphosis. So like I said, it has complete metamorphosis. So we have it starting from egg, okay, egg to larva, to pupa, and then to adults. We have it forming maggots in the larva stage. That is where it forms maggots. So that is the metamorphosis of this particular organism. Houseflies dwell in warm homes or environment, and this makes their productivity more fruitful. It helps them. The flies that you see in warm environment tend to survive more than the ones that you see in other environments. They respirate using simple gas exchange system. They respirate using simple gas exchange system, using their trachea. Yes, that is how this particular organism exchange. They make use of their trachea. Using trachea. So that is how they respirate. Houseflies are vectors. Yes, we know that they are vectors. They are vectors, and vectors are disease-carrying organisms. They help to carry organisms that are responsible for causing diseases. So they are disease carriers. So these are some of the diseases that this particular organism can carry. Typhoid fever, dysentery, cholera. We have so many examples of them: tuberculosis, leprosy, etc. Anthrax. All of these are examples of diseases that are carried about by this particular organism. So if we are to look at their body size, they have 3 pairs of working legs and 3 body parts, talking about the head, thorax, and abdomen. Okay, let me put that here. Three pairs of working legs, three segmented bodies, and that is, we have the head, the prothorax, and the abdomen. Head, prothorax, and the abdomen. So those are the body parts of this particular organism. So these are the things that we have to say about the housefly. This is what the housefly looks like. You can see this is the diagram of the housefly. You can see having compound eyes. You can see the compound eyes. Then this is the pair of membranous wings. You can see it. So here are other pictures to help us understand what you are saying. You can see the membranous wings here. This here is what we refer to as the membranous wing. So you can see the pair of legs now. This is one pair. This is the second pair. And here underneath the wings is where we have the third pair. So this is the head region. This is the prothorax, and here we have the abdomen. Let me show us other pictures. that can help us. You can see this is the male and this is the female. You can see them. That is how they look. And then you can see the abdominal part underneath. This is the ventral view. We have the anterior, anterior view, and here we have the ventral view. So looking at them now, you can see the 3 pairs of working legs. You can see 1, 2, and then the third one. So this part here is the abdomen. That is what the housefly looks like. So here is a label diagram of the housefly. You can see it. That's the eye, the compound eye having antenna, and then the first pair of legs. We have the second pair of legs, and then the third pair of legs with their wings. We can see this is the prothorax, and then the abdominal part. So that is about our specimen A. So moving to the next specimen now, we have our specimen B. Specimen B, which happens to be spider. Spider, that is our specimen B. So like we did for our first specimen, we will look at the classification of this particular organism as well. So the classification of this organism, we have a kingdom to be Animalia. We have a phylum to be Arthropoda. The class is Arachnida. The order, we have it to be Arane. Arane. The family now, we have it to be Aranidae. Now I just picked this particular species to use as our case study here. We have over 136 families of this particular organism. This spider has over 136 families. So I just picked this particular one for our study. So the one I picked, the genus, we have it to be the Mastophora. Mastophora, and then the species is called this is what we refer the species is the Phrynosoma. So for this particular one, the scientific name is going to be the Mastophora phrynosoma. Mastophora phrynosoma. That is the scientific name of this particular organism. So like we did in the first one, you can see how we are writing the under name, right? How we are writing the scientific name without joining the underlines. So that is how it is. And the first letter that starts the first word or the genus of this particular organism is written in capital letter, while the first letter that starts the species name is written in lower case. That is how we write the name of scientific organisms, or the scientific names of organisms. Spider possess 6 pairs of appendages. Spiders possess 6 pairs of appendages. They possess 6 pairs of appendages, and they have 8 legs in total. They have 4 pairs of working legs. They have 4 pairs of working legs. That is 8 in total. Now, they have 2 segmented bodies. It has been heavily debated to see if it is actually a head and the abdomen, or the prothorax and the abdomen, cephalothorax and all of these have been widely debated. But for the case of this study, I'll just put them into 2 parts, that we have them to be the head or the cephalothorax and the abdomen. They have 2 segmented bodies, cephalothorax and 2 abdomen. So that is about that. Now, these particular organisms, they are known to construct webs for trapping insects. Spiders are known to construct webs for trapping insects. because they are also carnivorous in nature. Spiders are carnivorous in nature. Now, some of the spiders inject venom into their prey to kill them quickly. Some spiders also inject venoms. That is to say that some of these spiders are venomous in nature. So they inject venoms into their prey to immobilize them, to immobilize and kill them quickly. While others first use silk to just wrap them. Others use silk to wrap. That is the silk that is spun in their body. They use it to immobilize and strangle the animals or the victim. Generally, the female spiders are larger in size. Female spiders are larger in size compared to the males. So the males have smaller body construct. They are majorly carnivorous, I said that earlier on, because they feed on insects. The legs are attached to the cephalothorax. The legs of the spiders, legs are attached to the cephalothorax. Legs are attached to the cephalothorax, or in some places you see it being called the prosoma. Yes, that is the head region, and this part of the body contains the stomach and the brain. Yes, that is where we have the stomach and the brain of the spider, where the stomach and the brain are found. Yes, it is in the cephalothorax that we find the stomach and the brain of this particular organism. While in the abdomen contains the lungs, the heart, respiratory organ, etc. So these are the things that we see in the spider. So that is what we want to say about the spider. So this is what we want to say. This is a picture to show us what the spider looks like. You can see this is a picture of the spider. You can see how it looks. You can see it on its web. This is a spider, and on it here, that is where we have the web. You can see the web that it spins. So that is how the spider looks. This is another picture of the spider. You can see there are different species. This is another one. Now you can see that this one has used its web to trap an insect. You can see it. It has trapped an insect, and so it comes in now for the kill. If it has not properly immobilized the insect, it comes either to sting it, to introduce venom into the body, to actually to kill the animal. So that is about the spider. So you can see what it looks like there. And here is a labeled diagram of a spider. So we can see here now that I said it has 4 pairs of working legs. So this here are the first pairs of working legs, and this one and this one here make up the second pair. You can see that they are all attached to the cephalothorax. This is the cephalothorax, or the head of the animal, the head of the spider. So this part here is the head of the spider, and so all of the legs are attached to the head. You can see them now. So this is the 3rd pair of working legs, and this here make the last pair, or the 4th pair of working legs. So here is where we have the abdomen. So it is in this abdomen that we have the heart, the lungs, as well as the respiratory organ. But in the head here, in the cephalothorax here, what we have there, we have the stomach and the brain of the animal in this part here. So that is about the second specimen. So we'll move to the next specimen now, which is our specimen C, the pride of Barbados. Specimen C, pride of Barbados. That is our specimen C. So we'll follow suit with all that we have been doing before now by talking about its classification first and foremost. So the kingdom there, it is a plant, so it belongs to the kingdom Plantae. Phylum, it is a Trachyphyta. The class, it is an Angiosperma. And then for the order now, we say that it belongs to the Fabales. The Fabales, we have the family to be Fabaceae. Family is Fabaceae, and then the genus is the Caesalpinia. Caesalpinia. That is the genus. And the species, we have it with the Pocherina. Pocherina. So that is the scientific name, the scientific classification of this organism. So its scientific name is going to be seen as this: the Caesalpinia Pocherina. Let me put it there that way. So you see, and don't forget, we don't join the underline. So that is about the pride of Barbados. Now the placentation. Okay, let me go for that. This particular organism produces its seeds in 2 to 3 years. So let's say it matures from seedling to the full animal, to the full organism in about 2 years. So the growth period of this particular organism is about 2 to 3 years, and it has rapid growth phase in about the 5th to the 6th month. Pride of Barbados reaches maturity from seedling in 2 to 3 years with rapid growth period at about the 5th to 6th month. About the 5th to 6th month. Now it blooms in the last weeks of this particular month, adding vibrant colors from summer into fall. Now this particular organism reaches about 8 to 12 feet tall in 2 years. It reaches about 8 to 12 feet tall in a 2-year span. So in 2 years, it can have an height of about 8 to 12 feet. Now, the flowers are clustered of orange-red blossom. The flowers are clusters of orange-red blossom with long red stamens. Flowers are clusters of orange-red blossom. I will show us what I mean by this shortly. Orange red blossom with long red stamen. With long red stamen. Yes, it has long red stamen that is able to carry the stalk, and they are mostly found in Asian or American countries. It is used in traditional medicine to treat ailments like fever and to also induce sleep. Yes, traditionally in the ancient times it is used. Okay, traditionally it is used to treat fever. Okay, traditionally used to treat fever and to induce sleep. So it is used for this traditionally. Though in the ancient times, this particular crop was used by slaves to commit suicide and the rest of those. That is actually the root or the seed of this particular material. Basically, it is used for its aesthetic value. It is used for beautification. It is used for beautification because it is very, very lovely to see. It is used for beautification. And then looking at it, it is propagated by seeds. Let me put that here. Propagation by seeds or cutting. You can actually use the seeds of the pods. When the pods are ripe enough, you can cut down a ripe pod, sun dry it, allow the seeds in it. When the pod is totally dry, the pod breaks open, and then the seeds are you can just put them in warm water for about 24 hours, and then you put them into a moisturized soil, and you continue to water for some time, and then you see it sprouting up. So that is the propagation. The placentation of this particular crop is marginal. Placentation, I said, is marginal. What do we mean by it being marginal? That means all of the ovules are attached to the central of the they are attached to a single ovary. They are attached centrally to the ovary, that is to the wall of the ovary. That is what the marginal placentation there is talking about, that all of the ovules are attached to the walls of the ovary. Now when we look at the inflorescence of the pride of Barbados, the flower has 5 petals. The flower has 5 petals. Flower has 5 petals. I will show that to us very shortly, with a yellow margin in the pyramidal inflorescence. With yellow margin in a pyramidal inflorescence. In the pyramidal inflorescence. And this brings out the beautiful coloration of this particular crop. Each flower is about 1.5 inch across with 5 sepals. Each flower is about 1.5 inches across with other 5 sepals. So that is how this particular substance is. Then the 10 stamens are long and they have pistils that subject from the center of the flower. These 5 petals are smaller and they are farther than the other ones. Other names that we call this particular species. Other names it is also called. We also call it peacock flower. It is also called peacock flower. It is called dwarf flamboyant. Dwarf flamboyant. These are other names that they call them in some other areas. It is also called the Mexican. It is also called the Mexican bird of paradise. The Mexican bird of paradise. So these are the things that we want to say about this particular organism, looking at the pride of Barbados. So let me show you some pictures to actually help us drive home our points. So these are pictures showing. So these are pictures showing what the pride of Barbados look like. You can see this here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 petals having the sepals on them. You can see the petals. Let me make the picture clearer, bigger. You can see now. So here now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are petals. On the petals now we now have the yellow sepals. You can see them. These ones are red, orange red, the petals, and then we now have the yellow sepals being carried by these things here called the stamen. You can see all of these long stalks here. They are called the stamen. So that is what this particular organism is looking like. So let's see other pictures. You can see these are other pictures of the pride of Barbados. You can see. So this is a diagrammatic expression or a labeled diagram of the flower of the pride of Barbados. So you can see when it is cut longitudinally, this is how it will look. So we can see here now, I'm depicting here, we have the anther on the stamen. You can see that is the anther. You can see this particular small yellow part here is the anther, and it is found on the filament here. And so they make up the stamen. So you can see this red one here. This particular red part here, orange red here, that is the petal. So on the petal is where we now have the sepal. On the petal is where we now have the sepal, and that is how the particular organism looks. Specimen D. Specimen D, and our specimen D is the bean seed. The bean seed. That is our specimen D. So what do we have to say about the bean seed? Like our custom, let's look at the classification. So it is in the kingdom Plantae, and then the phylum is Trachyphyta as well. Trachyphyta. We have the class to be Angiosperma. The order is Fabales. We have a family to be the Fabaceae. The genus, we have it to be Phaseolus. Phaseolus, and the species is Vulgaris. The species is Vulgaris. So scientifically, the name of this crop will be written as the Phaseolus vulgaris. Phaseolus vulgaris. So the P is written in capital letters, and then there is an underlined lowercase of V. That is how we write the scientific name of the organism. So beans are creepers or climbers. They are creepers or climbers because they just move on the floor. Beans are creepers or climbers. We also refer to them as legumes or pulses. Those are the things that we refer to this particular organism as. It has many varieties. This include the varieties. We have them including the kidney bean. We have the kidney bean. We have the black bean. We have the pinto bean. We also have the navy bean. All of these are examples of the varieties of this particular bean. Oftentimes we see them in different colors, but common colors now. Common skin or coat color. Common skin or coat color, we have it to be white. We have white, and then we also have brown. I will show us examples shortly. So the common skin or coat color of this organism, we have it to be white or brown. When we look at its propagation, it is cultivated using seeds. It is cultivated with seeds. And then the placentation for this particular crop, placentation, we have it also to be marginal. I explained marginal while I was talking about the seeds of Pride of Barbados, or talking about placentation in Pride of Barbados. So marginal simply means having the ovules attached to the walls of a single ovary. That is what the marginal placentation is talking about. These crops are summer crops. They are summer crops, and that they are needed. They need warmth to grow. They are summer crops that need warmth. That need warmth to grow. If you want them to grow properly, you help them with what? With some amount of heat. Since it is a legume, it is capable of nitrogen fixation. Since it is a legume, it is capable of nitrogen fixation. So it can produce nitrogen by itself in the soil. And so it can aid the soil fertility or soil production when it comes to the availability of nitrogen. Hence, it needs less fertilizer than most plants. Because it can produce nitrogen by itself, it needs less fertilizer by itself. The maturity period of this particular crop is about 2 months. Maturity period from seed to harvest. From seedling to harvesting, we have it to be about 55 to 60 days. That is approximately 2 months. So that is the maturity period of this particular crop. They are basically known or called vines. They are basically called vines or known as vines because they are like we said earlier on, they are creepers. So they grow with ropes as stems. As such, they need external support. They need external support to aid proper growth. So the support could come in form of pole, which could be a pole. You could use a pole or a cane to suspend the vine of the animal. of the plant. This particular organism is very, very rich in protein, so it is a major source. It is a major source or important source of protein. So these are the things that we'll be saying about this particular specimen D, the bean seed of Phaseolus vulgaris. So these are pictures showing us what we are talking about. You can see. So this one here, they are white bean seeds, and here is an example of a brown bean seed that is already sprouting. You can see the growth here. So we can see the brown seed here. So this is the cotyledon of that particular seed. When it is cut longitudinally, you can see this is the outside part of the seed, and then inner part of the seed. Now you can see the seed leaf that eventually germinates out of the soil. So that is how the particular seed is looking like. So here is the pod, because the seed, they come out in pods. So you see the pod here now. This is a fresh pod, freshly procured from the farm. So we have the bean seeds inside the pod. So for you to have access to the seed, you need to get all of the pods when they are ripe, and then you break them open. So that is how you get the bean seeds. Specimen E, and our specimen E there is our butterfly. Specimen E, which is butterfly. So we'll start with listing or talking about its classification as well. So the kingdom now, we have it to belong to the kingdom Animalia. The phylum, we have it to be Arthropoda. The class, it is Insecta. The order, we have it to be the Lepidoptera. Lepidoptera. The family, we have it to be Periidae. But I just chose one of the so many families. This particular organism has over 120 families. So I just picked one of them, which is the Periidae. It is one of the very famous ones. So the genus of this particular one that I'm talking about is the Peris. The Peris. And then the species is the Rapae. So for this particular one, the scientific name will be the Peris Rapae. Peris Rapae. So we put the underline as we have always done. So that is about this particular organism. So what do you have to say about the organism? They have 4 stages in their life cycle. So they have complete metamorphosis. Let's go deeper first. Adult wings lay eggs on food plants on which their larva eventually comes forth. The larva, which happens to be the caterpillar, comes out to feed on plants. So you often see them perching on plants. So the winged animals, winged adult butterflies, lay eggs on the food. They lay eggs on the food plants on which their larva, which is known as the caterpillar, the caterpillars will feed. These caterpillars are destructive. They grow sometimes very rapidly, and when they grow, they change into the pupa, which eventually skins to split out and bring out the adult, which is inside the animal. So like I was saying previously, it has complete metamorphosis. Butterfly has complete metamorphosis. So we have it looking like this, from the egg to the larva. The larva is where we have the caterpillar. and then to the pupa, and then to the adults. That is how the metamorphosis of this particular of this particular organism looks like. So, like I was saying, its wings, after it has come out from the pupa stage, the wings will be wet, but it is soon dried off and then it flies off. Butterflies are often polymorphic in nature. Butterflies are often polymorphic in nature. They are often polymorphic in nature. That is, they appear in more than one form. They appear in more than one form. So this particular animal, you see them in numerous forms. That is how we see this particular organism. So when we look at the butterflies, they have many of them using camouflage and mimicry to evade predators. They make use of camouflage and mimicry to evade predators. They make use of camouflage and mimicry to evade predators. Now, many butterflies are attached or attacked by parasites, wasps, flies, spiders, etc. They are usually attacked by parasites, wasps, flies, spiders, even humans. They are easily attacked by predators like wasps, bees, even humans. And oftentimes it is because of their the beauty. Some butterflies are pests also because their larval stage, which is the caterpillar, damage crops. Yes, I said that earlier on. Butterfly can also be destructive in its larval stage because the caterpillar feeds on crop leaves or stems. So that is another thing that we need to look at in talking about the butterflies. Some others are agents of pollination. Yes, this particular organism, they can also be used for pollination. Some butterflies are agents of pollination. So they can actually help to transfer pollens. They contain about 7 families with over 20,000 species. This particular organism contains about 7 families with over 20,000 species. So it's a very, very wide range of organisms. So this is what the particular specimen that we're talking about is looking like. You can see the butterfly. That is how it looks. You can see. So this is a butterfly. This is another one. You can see this is another one. They all have beautiful colors. You can see this is another one. You can see. So this is a labeled diagram of the anatomy of a butterfly. That is how it looks. You can see here we have the head having 2 antennae, a pair of antennae, and then we can see the feathery wing. You can see the wing. So it has 4 wings, the ones in front and then the hind legs, and we can see the abdomen here. So that is how this particular specimen looks. So we'll move to the next specimen now, which is going to be our specimen F. Specimen F, which is crayfish. Crayfish. So we'll follow suit with all that we have been doing from the beginning. We'll go still in the same direction. So classifying this organism, it belongs to the kingdom Animalia. The phylum is Arthropoda. The class, we have it to be the crustacea. The order, we have it to be decapoda. The family, it is Astacoidae. Astacoidae. The genus is Pontastachus. Pontastachus. And then the species, we have it to be the Leptodactylus. That is what this particular organism is. So scientifically, it is written as Pontastachus Leptodactylus. That is what this particular organism is called. That's the scientific name of this particular organism, and that is how it is written. Oftentimes we find this organism in fresh water. Crayfish is mostly found in fresh water, with exception of a few that are found in brackish or marine water. With the exception of a few found in brackish there means estuarine or marine waters. So we have some that are found in that environment. Lobsters are found in salt water. That's why we said with the exception of some. So lobster is an example of a crayfish, but it is found. Okay, let me put that here. Lobsters are found in salt waters or in marine waters. Looking at this particular organism, let's just say a few of the characteristics. It has a head that is joined with the thorax. Head is joined with thorax, and that is why we call it the ceph. It is called the cephalothorax. On the head, you have sharp snouts. On the head are sharp snouts. Sharp snouts with compound eyes. With compound eyes. Unmovable stalks. The compound eyes are unmovable stalks. Also, they possess 5 pairs of legs. Possess 5 pairs of legs. The first of these legs has a very, very large, powerful pincers. First pair of leg has large, powerful pincers. We call it the chile. Yes. Also, we can say that this particular organism, it also has 5 pairs of smaller appendages and abdomen that is used for swimming. Five other pairs of smaller appendages that are attached to the abdomen. They are used for swimming. They are used for swimming and circulating water for respiration. And circulating water for respiration in the body of this particular organism. Water for respiration. we still have few things to say about it. Let's see. This particular animal can grow to be as far or as big as 7.5 centimeters. It can grow up to about 7.5 centimeters. That is about 3 inches in length. 3 inches in length. That's how big this particular, or let me say, the average size of this particular organism. They conceal themselves under rocks and logs. Crayfish conceals itself under rocks and logs found in the marine environment, and is very, very rich in protein, highly rich in proteins. So these are some of the things that we'll be saying about this specimen, which is Specimen F, crayfish. So these are pictures that can help us know what we are talking about. We can see these are the working legs. These are the legs here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this is the 5th one. But we also start the count from here. So this is the first working leg, and then we have a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Now on this leg here, now this first working leg, you can see the pincers that I made mention of, powerful pincers. With this, it can attack other animals or probably a predator that is coming to hunt it. So these pincers are very, very sharp, and they can pierce through things. So they are called chiles. Now here is where we have the cephalothorax, and we can see here that we have other 5 appendages that are found on the abdominal region of the animal. So that is about this particular organism. You can see this is how it looks when it has been processed. This is when it is still fresh, and this is when it has been processed. Now if you look at it, I made mention of it that it has some snouts, some sharp snouts on the head. So that is how it looks. So you can see how it looks when it has been processed. So this is a Lagos diagram of the crayfish. You can see. So these are the powerful working leg that I made mention of as the chile. You can see it has the pincers, and then the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th working legs. And here we have the appendages that are found on the abdominal region. This region here make up what I referred to as the cephalothorax. This place here, the head joint with the thorax make up the cephalothorax. So that is what that is. So this is another diagram that can help us understand what we are actually seeing. You can see here now that it is saying it that the head and the abdomen, the head and the thorax joined together make up the cephalothorax. You can see it. And here the appendages, the 5 appendages that make up the abdomen, we also refer to them as the swimmerets. You can see these are organisms, small appendages that are attached to the abdomen, and they are referred to as the swimmerets. They aid the movement of this particular organism in the waters. So that is how this particular organism look. Specimen G. The grasshopper. So let us look at its own classification as well. Classifying this organism now, it belongs to kingdom Animalia. The phylum is Arthropoda. The class Insecta. Order Orthoptera. Orthoptera, the family there, we have it to be the Acrididae. The Acrididae. The genus, we have it to be Homocestus. And the species is the Virudilus. Virudilus. So scientifically, it will be written as Homocestus virudilus. That is how the scientific name will be written. Homocestus virudilus. Alright, moving further. These are chewing herbivorous plants, insects. They are insects that actually chew. So they are chewing herbivorous insects. Grasshoppers are chewing herbivorous because it feeds on plants, herbivorous insects that are typically ground dwellers. That are typically ground dwellers. They are typically ground dwellers, and they have powerful hind legs, which makes it possible for them to escape attack. They possess powerful hind limbs, which makes it possible to evade predators. It makes it possible for them to evade predators when they are being attacked or threatened. So they can actually leap rapidly. They can escape. They can leap rapidly off where they are. Their forelimbs or their legs okay, let me use this one, leaping rapidly away. So the forelimbs or the legs in the front are shorter. The legs in the front are shorter, and they are used for grasping food. And are used for grasping food. They are used for grasping food. This particular organism, they are sometimes seen as pests of cereals. Grasshoppers are sometimes seen as pests of cereals. They are sometimes seen as pests of cereals, vegetables, and pastures. Vegetables and pastures. They actually feed on these things. They swarm in multitude as locusts. Grasshoppers swarm in multitude as locusts. They swarm in multitude as locusts. Looking at this organism, we can actually say that they protect themselves from predators by camouflage. Grasshoppers protect themselves from predators by camouflage. They can actually conceal themselves in the environment where they are found. It has incomplete metamorphosis. Incomplete metamorphosis. We have it to be from egg to nymph and then to adults. That is how its own metamorphosis is. We have different examples of this particular organism. We have different species, other species. Other species, we could have Melanopus differentialis. Melanopus differentialis. We also have the Caulifera species. The Caulifera species, the species that we are using for this case study is the Homocestus viridulus. You can see this is an example of a grasshopper. We can see it as it has landed on this particular plant now. It has concealed itself, or it has a camouflaging concealment with its environment. So it is only somebody that actually views critically that will be able to identify that there is a grasshopper in this location here. So that is what grasshoppers look like. You can see this one is also camouflaging with the environment where it is found. You can see that is what grasshopper looks like. You can see this is another grasshopper here. You can see, so they have powerful hind limbs that can help them to propel them to evade predators. You can see them. So they can fly, they camouflage and conceal themselves in their environment. You can see. So this is how you actually see this organism, particularly when they are ready to mate. So that is how we see them. They look like this, and you see the male carrying the female carrying the male. That is what we experience. You can see the female is carrying the male, and that is how they actually lay their eggs and go about reproducing. So this is a labeled diagram of the grasshopper. This is a labeled diagram of the grasshopper. You can see it has an antenna. This is the pair of antenna on the head, and then it has the thorax here, and then it has this part here, which is the wings that aids its flight. It also has powerful hind limbs that can help it to propel itself away rapidly from its environment, and it has short forelimbs that is used in lifting food material. So that is how the diagram of this particular specimen looks. Specimen H, which happens to be the humerus of a rabbit. Humerus of a rabbit. So let's quickly look at the classification of this animal as well. The kingdom, we have it to be Animalia. The phylum, we have it to be Chordata. We have the class to be Mammalia. Yes, it is a chordate and it is also a mammal. Mammalia. The order there, we have it to be the Lagomorphia. The Lagomorphia. And then we have the family of this rabbit to be the Leporidae. The Leporidae, the genus, we have Oryctolagus, and then the species, we have it to be Corniculus. Oryctolagus corniculus. So the scientific name will be written as Oryctolagus corniculus. So that is how the scientific name will be written. Oryctolagus corniculus. Okay, so what do we have to say about the Oryctolagus corniculus, or particularly the specimen that we are focusing on, which is the humerus bone of the rabbit? Now, this particular bone is found on the skeleton of the rabbit, and we have two types of skeleton. We have the axial skeleton and then the appendicular skeleton. Those are the two major types of skeleton that we have: the axial skeleton and the appendicular skeleton. So on this organism, we are actually, on this specimen, we are actually looking at what the axial skeleton, the appendicular skeleton is. The appendicular skeleton is a part of the skeleton where we find this particular organism, the humerus of the rabbit. So that is what we are looking at right now. So it is found on the appendicular skeleton. It is found on the appendicular skeleton. It's found on the appendicular skeleton, and it is the largest bone of the upper arm extremity. It is the largest bone. It is the largest bone of the upper arm extremities. We find that bone there in the upper arm of the body. And then it articulates at the shoulder in the joint called the glenoid. It articulates at the shoulder in a joint called the glenoid. The joint is called the glenoid. That is the joint where we have this particular bone fit into. And at the elbow, it connects with two other smaller bones. Connects with two smaller bones. Smaller bones just compared in size. Smaller bones, which are the radius and the ulna. The radius and the ulna. I will show them to us shortly. Now, let's describe the humerus very well. The head of the humerus forms a ball and socket joint. It forms a ball and socket joint with the glenoid cavity. It forms a ball and socket joint with the glenoid cavity on the scapula. So it permits a particular degree of movement. This joint here, this joint permits movement in multiple planes. That is about this particular bone. It is found in the appendicular skeleton. So this is what the bone looks like. This is the bone, the humerus bone. This is the posterior view of the bone. Here's the posterior view of the bone. So you can see here is where we said that we have the what? The head that fits into the glenoid cavity. You can see it. That's the head that fits into the glenoid cavity. And so this is the anterior view, and this is the posterior view of the bone. You can see it. This is the label diagram also. This one was labeled, this is another label diagram of that same bone that we're talking about. You can see it. So this is where we have that bone. I'll show us a full animal of it now. So we have the forelimb, the humerus bone, the posterior view, and the anterior view. You can see it. So underneath here, the joint here, where we have the elbow, this is the lower part of the bone. This is the upper part that fits into this part here, fits into this upper region here, fits into the glenoid cavity in the shoulder. It articulates with the scapula. While in the lower part here, in this lower region here, it is connected with these two bones here. We have the ulna and the radius. The ulna is the longer bone of the lower forelimb, and while the radius is the shorter one. They are joined to this upper arm here, the upper bone, which is the humerus, at this elbow region, and then we have the phalanges attached to them. So that is what this particular bone is talking about. So this is what it looks like on the animal. You can see it. So this is where we have the humerus. You can see the bone here. This is the humerus bone. You can see the label. That is the humerus bone. So it is here that we have the glenoid cavity. You can see the label as well. We have the glenoid cavity here. You can see it, the glenoid cavity. So the humerus bone fits into the glenoid cavity as it articulates with the scapula. This is the scapula here. You can see it on the label. You can see it, the scapula, that's the shoulder blade. So, and then on the lower part of the humerus is where we have these two bones, the ulna and the radius, attached to the humerus. So that is what that particular specimen is talking about. Specimen I, which is the femur of a rabbit. So like we said earlier on, the scientific name is Oryctolagus. Oryctolagus corniculus. So that is the scientific name of that particular animal. We will not be needing to list out its classification since we did that in the previous slide. We did that while we were talking about specimen H. So we just go straight to discussing this particular specimen. So the femur bone now is a thigh bone. The femur is the thigh bone. Yes, it is the thigh bone, and it is also on the appendicular skeleton. Also on the appendicular skeleton. Perhaps if you want to know more about the types of skeleton, you want to know more about skeleton in general, you can actually check the video that is showing on the link, the video link that is showing right there on the screen right now. So that particular video talks about the skeleton, the mammalian skeleton. So you can actually use that as a case study to understand what we are talking about here. Also, if you want to know more about the dissection of rabbit, you can actually check the video that is also showing on the link right now. The video link that is showing on the screen right now. Now, talking about the femur bone, it is the longest, strongest bone in the body. The femur is the longest, strongest bone in the body. It is a critical part of the ability to stand and move. It is a critical part in the ability to stand, and move. It is very, very crucial in that aspect. It supports lots of important muscles. It supports lots of important muscles, important tendons, ligaments, and also some parts of the circulatory system and parts of the circulatory system. It is very, very important. The head of the femur, the head of the femur forms a ball and socket joint. Just like the one that we have in the humerus and the glenoid cavity. This one also forms a ball and socket. Joint with the hip. At the acetabulum. That is the name of the joint where we have this particular bone connected to. At the lower end of this bone, it is joined with two bones also. It is joined with two bones. The bones that we have there, we have and it is joined with two bones of the lower part of the hind leg. Let me put it that way. Two bones of the lower part of the hind limbs. And these bones, we refer to them as the tibia and fibula. Those are the two bones that are found in this part of the body. The tibia and the fibula. They are formed with a flat kneecap. The kneecap there, we call it the patella. So it is also the site, this particular bone, it is also the site of production of bone marrow. We have it to be the site of production of bone marrow. So these are the things that we need to know about the femur bone of the Oryctolagus corniculus. So let's continue from this picture. Here is where we have the femur bone at the rear part of the body of the animal. You can see it here. That is where we have the bone, the femur bone. And here we have the lower bones that are attached on the on the lower end of the femur. When this animal stands upright, this is the lower region of the femur. So we can see here we have a small flat bone in front here of the bone, in front of or on the femur here. That bone is what we refer to as the patella, that is the kneecap, and then it is attached to two other bones here. You can see this is one and this is the other, which are referred to as the fibia and the tibia and the fibula. You can see it, the tibia and the fibula, those are the two bones. So here is where we have the femur bone attaching to the pelvic region in the acetabulum. That is how we have the animal there. So looking at the animal now, this is what the bone on its own looked like. You can see it. This is the bone on its own. So this is how it looks like. So you can see the femur bone here now. You can see the femur bone. It has its own head that fits into the acetabulum, and then this other part here where we have the condyles is where we have it attaching to the lower bones, which is the tibia and the fibula. So that is what these bones look like. So you can see them. So that is the bone, and as it is attached to the lower bone, which are the tibia and the fibula, and then the tibia and the fibula, they are also attached to these bones here, which are the bones of the metatarsals and the tarsals. So those are the things that we need to look at as we discuss the femur bone of the rabbit. Specimen J, and our specimen J is orange fruit. So what can we say about the orange fruit? We'll go ahead with talking about its classification now. So classifying orange fruit, the kingdom, it belongs to the Plantae. Phylum, it is Magnoliophyta. Magnoliophyta. The class, it is a dicotyledon. The order, it is a Sapindalis. Sapindalis. The family, we have it to be Rutaceae. Rutaceae. The genus, it is Citrus. And then the species, we have it to be Sinensis. Sinensis. So scientifically, it will be written as Citrus Sinensis. Citrus Sinensis. So that is what the scientific name of this particular crop is, Citrus sinensis. So what do we have to say about it? It has a waxy skin. This particular, okay, let us start with classifying the organism. It is a fruit. It is a fruit, and the type of fruit, we refer to it as a true fruit. True fruit. When we say true fruit, it is because it is from ovary. From ovary. And then it is a simple monocarpous fruit. It is simple. Because it is a monocarpous material. It has monocarpous flower. Simple monocarpous flower, and then it is succulent. It is succulent, and then Hesperidium. Hesperidium. This particular fruit, oranges, they have waxy skin. It has waxy or oily skin. They are spherical in shape. So it has spherical, it is spherical, okay, let me put it that way. It is spherical with outer peel, which is called the epicap. We call the outer peel the epicap. That is what we refer to the outer peel as, the epicap. And then with underlining fibrous layer. with underlying fibrous layer. The fibrous layer is called the mesocarp. Underlying fibrous layer called the mesocarp. And with the juicy parts. And with the juicy part called, we call the juicy part the endocarp. Now, this particular crop undergoes asexual reproduction. It undergoes asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction because it can be cultivated using seeds also with parts of the body. It undergoes asexual reproduction using seeds which are naked. Seeds are naked. The seeds of this particular crop, they are naked. If we are to look at propagation of this particular crop, propagation is through grafting or budding. Grafting or budding, and it is done using seeds that do not really produce fruit. We use this particular system because the seeds do not really produce the plant that we expect. Placentation also. Placentation of this particular crop, we have it to be axial. The placentation is axial because all the ovules they are attached in the center of the particular crop. That is how this particular crop is. So this is what we are looking at. This is the waxy skin of the specimen. You can see how waxy or oily it is. So that is what it is. And then you can see what orange looks like. You can see it on the tree having flowers around it. So if you are told to draw a cut section of it, this is the transverse cut of the orange fruit. So this is the transverse cut of the orange fruit. So like I was explaining to us earlier on, this place here is where we have the epicarp or the exocarp, as the case might be. And then this tiny white part here is the mesocarp, and this place here is where we have the endocarp. That's the juicy part with the endocarp. So you can see tiny seeds around. So because the seeds are attached or around the middle here, that is why we say that the placentation is axial. So that is what we mean by that. Now, this is a transverse cut. When it is cut from left to right, it is transverse. But when it is cut from top to bottom like this one here is a longitudinal cut. This cut here from left to right of the orange is transverse, while the one that is cut from top to bottom like this is the longitudinal cut. That is what this particular specimen is looking like. Specimen K, the Honeybee. So like we have done in the past, we will quickly look at the scientific classification of this organism before we move further. So talking about its own scientific classification, we have it, the kingdom, Animalia, the phylum is Arthropoda, the class, we have it to be Insecta. The order, it belongs to the Hymenoptera. Then for the family, it is the Apidae. The Apidae. Then we have the genus to be Apis, and species. We have so many species, so I will make use of two here. Let me just pick two species. Let me use Linnaeus. Linnaeus. I can also have Mellifera. The Mellifera. So let me just use this first one as my scientific name. So I'll be having it to be apis linus, or if it is the second one, it will be the apis mellifera. So it is either of these two now that we'll be having as a scientific name for whichever one that we have chosen, and then we make sure that we have it underlined separately like this, not joining the words. So that is about the scientific classification of this organism. So what is this honeybee? Honeybees are known for their construction of perennial nests. Honeybees construct perennial nests. They construct nests and it is made from wax. These honeybees are domesticated for honey. They are actually reared for production of honey. Honeybees are domesticated for the production of honey. Also, some people use them to pollinate their crops. They also use in pollination of crops, production of honey and pollination of crops. So these are some uses of this particular animal. The other domesticated bee is the eastern honeybee, and this one is called the Apis cerana. It is found majorly in the southeast. Humans use bee wax in making candles. This is another use of the bee wax itself, not the bee. The bee wax, that is the comb that is made from the bees. They use it to make candles, soap. Humans use bee wax to make candles, soaps, lip balm, cosmetics, lubricants, also to make mold and mold making. All of these are some of the uses of the bee. Now, the metamorphosis of this particular animal is complete. It has complete metamorphosis. Complete metamorphosis, that is, it starts from the egg to the larva and then to the pupa, before it becomes an adult. These are the stages of this particular organism. It has 3 castes. Let me put that here. 3 castes. The caste, we have the queen, we have the drones. Let me put them this way. 3 castes. The queen, which is reproductive female. It is the queen that lays the eggs, and then they have the drone. The drone, they develop from unfertilized eggs. The drones develop from unfertilized eggs. Drones develop from unfertilized eggs and are majorly males. And then we have the third one. So this is, we have 1. We have the queen to be 1. And then we have the drone to be 2. Now we have the third one there to be the workers. The workers. And these workers, the workers are responsible for feeding the workers. They are females, unfertilized females, responsible for feeding the larva and taking care of the cast and caring for the colony. So these are the functions of these organisms. So they produce thick sweet jelly liquid, which is called the honey. The honeybee generally, they produce thick sweet jelly liquid that is called the honey, and it is used as a sweetener. Honeybee produce thick sweet jelly liquid, which is actually called the honey, and is used as sweetener. It is used as sweetener. Let's look at medicinal functions of this particular substance. Medicinal functions. It is anti-inflammatory. It is anti-inflammatory. I'm talking about the honey now. It is also it is antioxidant in nature. It has antioxidant properties. It is also responsible for boosting immunity. It has antibacterial. It has antibacterial properties. It is good for blood sugar level. For blood sugar level. Also, I said that it boosts immunity. Boosts immunity. All of these are properties and functions of the honeybee. So we have this as the study of the properties, the things that I want to say about the honeybee. So let us quickly look at pictures that can help us understand what we are saying. These are pictures here talking about the honeybee. This is the honeybee. We can see it. It has 3 body parts. You can see it has the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. You can see it. So this is how it looks. This is the head region here. You can see the head region. We have the thorax and then the abdomen. That is how it looks. So you can see how it is being. You can see it. You can see it. So this part here, you can see this part here is the head, and this region here is the thorax. While this place here is the abdomen. This is the head and the thorax. Now look at all of the body parts and as they are being labeled. You can see the wings. You can see the wing here, and then on the tail here, on the tip end of it, has a stinger with which it stings. And then whenever it bites, or whenever it stings rather, it loses its stinger, and it can eventually lead to the death of this organism. So they have 3 pairs of working legs, and they have proboscis in front of their mouth part. You can see these are the legs. One, the first pair, second, and the third pair. And then this is the proboscis in front of it. And then it has chewing mouth parts, which is the mandible, and then the maxilla. You can see the antenna in front of it. It has its compound eye as well. So these are parts of the honeybee. So here I have the cast of the honeybee. This is the cast of the honeybee. So this is the drone. Here we have the drone, which I refer to as the reproductive male that is made from unfertilized egg. So this is the drone. It is usually the male organism. And then we have the queen, which is usually a reproductive female. And it has large abdomen. The abdomen is where it has its eggs. And then this is the worker. So these are the 3 casts of the Apis mellifera, which is an example of the honeybee that we're talking about. So this is another label of the honeybee. You can see it properly labeled. And that is land snail. Land snail. Looking at its own classification as well, it looks thus. Starting from the kingdom, we have it to belong to the kingdom Animalia. The phylum is the mollusca. The class is Gastropoda. the order, it is the Stylomatophora. Stylomatophora. The family, we have it to be the Elicidae. Elicidae. The genus, it is Helix. And then the species, it is the Pomatia. So the scientific name of this particular organism will be written as Helix Pomatia, not forgetting the underline. Helix Pomatia, that is the scientific name of this organism. So what do we have to say about it? Helix Pomatia is a terrestrial gastropoda. The land snail is a terrestrial organism, though having its ancestors are marine in nature. So it is a gastropod, like I said earlier on. That is why we have it to be from the class Gastropoda. Now, the ones with shells, they are the ones we refer to as the mollusks. That is why we refer to this one as a mollusk. So animals like this that have shells, they are referred to as mollusks. But there's a particular one that looks like a snail, but it does not have a shell. That one is called the slug. So snails have shell. That is why they are referred to as mollusks. But slugs have no shell. Slugs have no shell. Slugs are without shell. Now, I said it earlier on that the original ancestors are marine in nature. Now, this organism is majorly a pulmonate. That is, it has lung for gaseous exchange. Majorly pulmonates. That is, possessing lungs for gaseous exchange. Possessing lungs for gaseous exchange. Also, they are hermaphrodites. Majorly hermaphrodites. And that is why reproduction is not. They can actually reproduce without seeking any reproductive mate or partner. So they are majorly hermaphrodites. Now they move by gliding. Land snails move by gliding on the muscular foot that they have. They move by gliding along. They move by gliding along on their muscular foot. On their muscular foot. Yes, it is on their muscular foot that they glide about, which is lubricated with mucus. Lubricated with mucus, and this makes it possible for them to move about. Now, it is also covered with that foot, that muscular foot is also covered with cilia, which reduces friction. It reduces friction. The shell of this organism is rich in calcium carbonate. Shell is rich in calcium carbonate. We have that very, very common. And then they possess two pairs of tentacles on their head. They possess two pairs of tentacles. One pair carries the eyes. One pair carries the eye that this particular organism have on them. Now, these animals, majority of them, they hibernate during winter. Snails hibernate during winter. They hibernate during winter, and they also estivate and estivates during summer, and this is done to preserve their life until a more favorable condition comes around, and this is done to stay moist during hibernation. So to do that, to stay moist during hibernation, they actually seal their shell opening with dry layer of mucus, which is called the epiphyseal. So these are the things that we want to know about the, okay, let me put that here. To stay moist, the seal shell opening, they seal the shell opening with dry layer of mucus. That is what we refer to, like I said earlier on, to be the epiphyseal. The epiphyseal. So that is it. So this is what the snail looks like. You can see it. That is what the snail looks like. You can see the tentacle on the head here. So it is with that down that it carries. Look at the ones in front here. I said it has two pairs. So let me show us the better one. This is another snail. You can see. So you can see it. That is how it looks. So you can see here we have the eyes. The first ones here, they have the eyes. You can see it. So that is how it looks. That is the label diagram of the snail. You can see it. This is the label diagram of the snail. So you can see them bearing the eyes, and then the lower tentacles also, where the mouth part is. So this is what I refer to as the muscular foot. This part here is the muscular foot that has cilia on it, and this cilia aid their movement. It is with that they are able to move about on the surface where they are found. So this is the shell that has a hole, and then it has a small opening here that is actually used in excreting. So Specimen M, which is the guava, that is our next specimen. So let us quickly look at the classification of this organism. So starting with the class, the kingdom, we have it to belong to the kingdom Plantae. The phylum, it is a trachyphyte. So we call it Trachyphyta. And then we have the class to be Angiosperma. The class is Angiosperma. The order there is Metals. Metales. We have the family. The family, we have it to be Metaceae. We have it to be the Metaceae. And then the genus, we have it to be called the Psidium. Psidium. And the species, it is called the Guava. Guava. So scientifically, it is written as Psidium guajava. That is what this particular organism is written as, the Psidium guajava. So you don't forget that we are to underline when writing scientific names. All right. So what do we have to say about this particular organism? It has so many names that is being called. So other names, it is called common guava, yellow guava. It is called lemon guava. So many ethnic group call them different names. Yellow guava. We also have it called apple guava. Apple guava. Guava pear, etc. We cannot mention all the names. So these are some names that this particular species of organism is called. Now, looking at this guava, we say that it is also called apple pear, like I said earlier on. It's a common tropical fruit. It is a common tropical fruit, and it is popularly cultivated in the Central America, Mexico, and the Caribbean. Those are the places where they are they are cultivated, that this particular fruit is cultivated. Guava is eaten as fruit and as an ingredient in beverage drinks. Guava is eaten as fruits and as ingredients in beverage drinks. So it is a major ingredient that is used in production of some beverages. Now it is also used to produce tea when it is brewed and stewed with and steamed with its leaves. It is also used to produce tea when it is steamed with its leaves. And it has a nice fragrance or aroma, if I may put it that way. It is mainly rich in water, and it has about 81% with carbohydrates and protein, taking about 14 to 30% respectively, 14 to 3% respectively. Let me put that here. I said the guava fruits majorly contains water, it contains H2O, and that is about 81%. And then we have carbohydrate in it, which has about 14%, and then proteins, which has about 3%, constituent by talking about the nutrient that is found in this particular organism. This particular fruit, like I was saying earlier on while we were discussing the honeybee, I made mention of the honeybee, and I said it is responsible, that some people use it for pollination of their crops. So this particular organism is usually pollinated by the Apis mellifera. Guava is usually pollinated by the Apis mellifera. So it actually pollinates this crop extensively. So these are the things that we have to say about this particular organism. So looking at some pictures now, this is what guava looks like. We can see, so it has this lemon green outer coating, which is the epiderm, and then inner part of it, it has this color like pink coloration. Now it has tiny seeds that are usually very, very strong. So when eating this particular fruit, it is very, very essential that we chew the seeds and we grind them to the barest minimum that we can. So that is what the fruit looks like. We can see it. That is what it looks like. We can see inside of it also. So that is what the fruit looks like. And then we move over to the next specimen, which is our specimen N. Specimen N. And our specimen N is the Irish potato. The Irish potato. And looking at the Irish, okay, so we'll go ahead to talk about its classification. So classification of Irish potato, the kingdom, Plantae, the phylum is Trachyphyta, the class Angiosperma, the order, it belongs to the Solanes, the family, it belongs to the Solanaceae. The genus, we have it to be called the Solanum, and then the species, it is called Tuberosum. Now, looking at that, classifying this organism, it will be called the Solanum tuberosum. So the Solanum tuberosum, that is what this particular species is known as. Solanum tuberosum. So moving further now, what do we have to say about this particular crop? It is a good source of soluble fiber which helps to reduce cholesterol. A good source of soluble fiber which reduces cholesterol level. Which reduces cholesterol level. Yes, it is a tuber crop. It is a tuber crop. It is also rich in protein. Also rich in protein. It is also rich in protein, carbohydrates, minerals, and vitamins. Proteins, carbohydrates, minerals, and vitamins. It is rich in all of this, minerals and vitamins. You also have the types, major types. We have the red and the white. Red and white. These are the major types of the Irish potato that we have. They are edible perennial starchy vegetable tubers. I said that earlier on that they are tubers. So they are edible perennial crops. Edible perennial starchy tubers. This particular organism, we have a wide variety which are known to have superior cooking quality than the red. Remember I said that they have white and the red. So the white potato usually have, the white varieties have superior cooking qualities. They have superior cooking qualities than the red. And now, this is because we can preserve longer than the white. The red actually has a higher preservation period than the white. So that is an advantage to the red, which has a longer preservation period. Than the white. So the white is superior as it comes to cooking, but the red has a longer shelf life. They reproduce sexually using flowers. They reproduce sexually using flowers that bear fruit, or sexually using eyes of the potato. They reproduce sexually using their flowers or asexually using the eye of the potato. So these are ways through which you can actually have this crop cultivated. So they are very, very good in producing nutrients from proteins, carbohydrates, minerals, and vitamins. So this is what we are looking at. This is what the potato looks like. This is the Irish potato. That is it there. So we see it here also. That is what the Irish potato looks like. You can see the plant. So it has, that is why we say it is a vegetable style tuber crop. So these are the tubers, and it has leaves that look like vegetable on them. So you can see them on the field. So that is what the potato looks like. And lastly, we go to the specimen O. Specimen O, which happens to be sweet potato. Sweet potato. So let us quickly look at its own classification as well. So the kingdom, Plantae. The phylum, it is Trachyphyta. The class, it belongs to the Angiosperma. The order, it is Solanes. The family, it belongs to the Convolvulaceae. Then the genus is the Ipomea. And then the species, the Batatas. That is what the sweet potato looks like. So its own scientific name is written as the Hypomea batatas. Hypomea batatas. That is its own scientific name. Now, majority of the characteristics that we might want to say about the sweet potato is what we have discussed under the Irish potato. So I will just quickly look at the nutritional differences of the Irish potato to the sweet potato. Nutritional differences. These ones are also, like I said, they are similar to the Irish potato. So they are also tuber crops. They also have starchy vegetable stems and so on. So they are also propagated the same way. So the nutritional differences now: sweet potato is higher in vitamin A. It's higher in vitamin A, slightly higher level of it has slightly higher level. That's slightly higher level of fiber or vitamin C. It has manganese. It has copper. Also, it possesses pantothenic acid. These are some nutritional requirements or differences that makes sweet potato outstanding to the Irish potato. So these are the things I want to say about the Irish potato. And looking at the picture, this is what the Irish potato looks like. It looks like this. This is what the sweet potato. This is what the sweet potato looks like. You can see how it looks. You can see it. So that is the sweet potato. So this is as far as we can come with all of the specimens that we have talked about. So please do well to go through all of the things that we have said about this video, about the specimen. Get yourself familiarized with them as you prepare for your examination. I wish you success in your examination. Thanks for coming along with us. If you are yet to subscribe to our channel, please subscribe to our channel and click on this on the notification button so you get easily notified of subsequent uploads. Thank you very much and God bless.